Good morning and afternoon for those of you on the East Coast. Welcome to our presentation today. Top Trends for Agile Transformation in 2018, People, Processes, and Technology for the Modern PMO. My name is Mike and I'm a Strategic Account Specialist at Wickersoft. I'm also joined on today's call with Heather Champu, today's presenter, who leads in a business development capacity for Wickersoft. Before we get started, we have a few quick logistics to go over with you. First off, due to the large audience, we will not be opening up the line today. However, please feel free to leverage the chat module within your GoToWebinar panel to ask your questions. We will be monitoring the chat and question panel throughout today's presentation. You can also feel free to email me directly, and I will be happy to answer your questions as well. I'll be including my contact information at the end of the webinar. That being said, all lines will be muted throughout the presentation. If for some reason you get distracted or pulled away during the webinar, no need to worry. We will be distributing the recording of today's presentation to all registrants following the webinar. Before we go on to managed services, a brief introduction to Wickersoft. Wickersoft is a joint venture with Microsoft that was founded in 2002. We provide business applications built on the Microsoft platform. Our services include consulting, education and training, staffing, offshore development, and business process outsourcing. And of course, our focus today, managed services. We are proud to be a triple certified Microsoft partner. Less than 1% of Microsoft partners ever have that designation. We are a true one-stop shop for enterprise work productivity, transformation, and have a wealth of experience helping organizations maximize their efficiency and technological advantage through people, process, and technology. Wickersoft is a global company with over 6,500 employees worldwide. With that, I'll hand it over to you, Heather.
Perfect. Thanks, Mike. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. For today's agenda, we're going to start off by taking a look at Agile transformation. What does it mean? And more specifically, what does it mean for today's PMOs? Most of you are familiar with the concept of project management. Then when looking at the trends we're seeing in modern PMOs today, what are the benefits of combining traditional project management methodologies with Agile, otherwise known as Bimodal? We'll review some of the general trends we're seeing for organizations that are going through Agile transformation currently and help you identify the things you need to consider if you are preparing for such an initiative within your own business. Agile transformation is more than just a methodology shift. To transition successfully, you must consider every aspect of managing work, which includes technology, processes, as well as your biggest assets, which are your people. We'll review some best practices that we've gathered from our experiences over the past few years, and finally, we'll cover one of the most important aspects of Agile transformation. Tools and processes will only get you so far. But how do you ensure you have the right teams in place to drive success? So we'll talk about some staffing as well. If you don't have the right people, we'll let you know how you can find them. So before we dive into Agile transformation and its definitions, let's take a quick look at some of the common challenges that we're seeing in today's work environments. Over the last few years, there's been a significant amount of introduction to new and disruptive technologies, which in turn introduces a whole new set of challenges for organizations. The increased burden of maintaining current technology and networks within the same consistent reliability and performance that we're used to, while keeping up with the latest and greatest innovations that are required for businesses to stay ahead of their competition, is proving to be an overwhelming task for many. So now you have two streams of work: maintaining the status quo and introducing innovation and strategic technology required for revenue growth. You then throw in the impact of today's economy, where resources and costs are spread thin, and doing more with less is a common trend that is growing across enterprises everywhere. It's a challenge every enterprise faces: do more work with less resources. These disruptions to the business is where Agile transformation comes into play. Agile methodologies, in general, were created based on the Agile Manifesto, which contains a set of core principles. These principles include things like individuals and interactions over processes and tools, working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, and responding to change over following a detailed plan. Agile overall is a mindset. It's a way of work that allows us to easily adjust our plans and collaborate together with the end result of meeting our customers' needs. The measurement of business value is really the true sign of the success of Agile transformation. Agile was intended to foster, support, and promote innovation. Agile transformation does not mean following a new methodology. So we'll clear up some of that confusion today as well, hopefully. Agile transformation at the highest level is a way of shifting the traditionally managed teams' mindsets to a new way of thinking and interacting with each other that results in an organizational transformation of culture that ultimately produces thriving, healthy, high-performing teams that are flexible, collaborative, organized, and can respond favorably to fast changes and shifting environments, which we see more often than not in today's world. So what does all this mean for today's PMO? Every year, PMI puts out a research paper that defines the state of the project management profession. One of the key insights that came from the 2018 survey is that the future of value delivery is a spectrum of approaches including predictive, iterative, incremental, agile, hybrid, and whatever will come next to the change in the way we work. The bottom line is that success starts with the right approach to support project delivery. Organizations will continue to use a variety of approaches and methodologies to address their own distinct challenges. That being said, business agility overall is absolutely critical in delivering business value. Over the years, the PMO role has changed significantly. Accelerating product cycles and competitive threats now demand continuous planning. Change is perpetual, and planning for it is a critical component for a PMO's success. As a result, organizations that have practiced traditional project methods to managing their programs are now moving to implement agile methods and practices. As they make these changes, though, they're experiencing ideal results such as improved quality, a faster time to market on business value, reduce costs, and most importantly, increase customer satisfaction. But the improvements don't come without challenges. It's a change to our culture, right? This transition creates assumed responsibilities for the project management office or PMO. Not only must they partake in practice agility, but they have to guide the rest of the organization through the transformation as well, making PMOs critical to agile transformation across the business. In early 2015, Gartner introduced the term bimodal IT, and they define it as the practice of managing two separate coherent modes of IT delivery, one focused on stability and the other on agility. Mode 1 is traditional and sequential, emphasizing safety and accuracy. This represents the traditional style PMOs that we're all used to, who use waterfall practices, creating a plan up front and sticking to it. Gartner refers to them as marathon runners. Mode 2, on the other hand, is exploratory and nonlinear, emphasizing agility and speed. In this case, PMOs must respond quickly to change and must have a flexible mindset to do so. These are our sprinters. You can see the differences between the two modes in the chart on the screen. Mode 2 is more focused on the customer experience and the collaboration of teams, where Mode 1 is really more about conventional process and plan-driven deliverables. Agile is more popular now than it's ever been, with almost 3/4 of all organizations reported to be using Agile within their PPM practice. Managing Agile or bimodal projects can be challenging, but with a hybrid model, you can deliver stability and efficiency, the result of traditional style PPM, while also giving in a necessary risk that lead to innovation and competitive edge, the common results of responding quickly to change. The benefits you can expect to see with a bimodal approach includes increased quality. In an Agile PMO, there are continuous improvements at each and every phase of the project lifecycle. In traditional project management, as you know, reviewing your lessons learned comes at the end of the lifecycle, giving you no room to identify problems, learn from them, and then readapt as you go. Secondly, speed of change. This benefit comes from the practice of introducing changes as you go and replanning with a controlled and disciplined approach. Remember, agility gives you the ability to respond quickly to change. Lower rate of failed projects. In an Agile or Bimodal PMO, teams are breaking down larger projects into smaller, more manageable work packages and more frequent releases or deliverables. This allows teams to respond quickly to evolving business requirements, bringing the rate of failed projects down. Increased value to the business. For many years, the PMO has been trained to answer questions like, did we meet all the requirements? Did we deliver on time? Did we execute within budget, right? Triple constraint. With Agile coming into play, PMOs are now focusing on delivering a high quality working product that actually meets the needs of the customer. What a concept, right? And then you have increased team collaboration. Instead of focusing on detailed specs or a well thought out project schedule, the final product emerges through a collaborative and iterative process in which the business provides a continuous feedback loop to ensure alignment. A bimodal PMO has a lot of benefits, but requires a significant mindset change for the organization to help promote innovative solutions to business challenges. In every Agile transformation, there are common trends that need to be considered in order to adopt and scale with Agile. In many cases, organizations may have an old school mentality of PMO leadership, which conflicts with core Agile values. Agile teams are high performing teams, remember that, can predictable, deliver high business value. To allow these teams to reach their potential, the PMO may need to adjust leadership styles and adopt a form of leadership that empowers the team and encourages self-leadership. The PMO role is more of a facilitator role in which they set a clear vision, they define necessary boundaries if there are any, and then they empower the team to self-organize around completing work. The key for PMO leaders is to listen, remove any barriers, and identify ways to help support the team, not dictating or enforcing solutions. Lack of experience with Agile methods can be another challenge. We all know that the fear of the unknown can prevent forward progress. Too many organizations negatively impact their Agile adoption due to not investing in Agile training and coaching. Teams have been doing the same things for decades. Agile methods require a different mindset that challenge those routines and force us to look differently at how we collaborate with each other. Agile also challenges the PMO's fundamental understanding of planning, forecasting, progress, and what we value. Lack of this initial training and coaching often leads to teams verbally committing to Agile, but not really buying in. Teams applying Agile practices, but they're still executing in a waterfall mindset. Or teams running into Agile struggles and then giving in with a, Agile just doesn't work for us response. Establishing communities of practice or cross-functional teams is critical for Agile transformation. No longer are the days where PMOs and product teams work against each other. Asking every team to follow the same process, for example, could be detrimental to the business. A PMO thrives on process and typically sees themselves as disciplined and structured. That same PMO team may see an application team as undisciplined with a lack of process. Something that we're all used to seeing. Disconnected teams usually comes from teams who have completely opposing views and processes, which then creates distance, which then results in team conflicts. So teams that work well together aren't forced to do things a certain way. They're brought together via a united front that allows them to work together in their own way while all contributing to the value that is delivered to the business. A hybrid model does just that. Fragmented tooling, data, and measurements can cause Agile transformation to fail quickly as well. Anyone that tells you that there is a one-size-fits-all tool for every team in an organization is most likely selling a product that might be okay at managing all work across the enterprise, but won't be the perfect fit for any one team. Every team has a focus, and that requires different tools. Most PMOs have been built on process, while new product development teams, require flexibility and agility. You don't hire a salesperson to build a software product, and you don't give marketing, HR tools to manage their campaigns, right? In a hybrid model, all teams have the project tool that works best for them, while the data integrates seamlessly to deliver a unified project management solution. We're going to talk about tooling here in a little bit. So assessing for readiness requires a closer look at the three fundamentals of organizational transformation: people, tools, and processes. Agile encourages a form of collaboration that is transparent and drives accountability within teams. Individual contributors become true team players. Roles are more flexible, and there's a strong emphasis on self-organization by the team itself versus management or the PMO. A bottom-up decision-making process is preferable, empowering and encouraging the team to make decisions for the benefit of the project. This is a new form of team that most organizations just aren't used to. Consider establishing an Agile transformation leader or coach that can help drive this new way of teamwork. The single most important aspect of successful transformation is culture change and people alignment. If you don't have the right people to help drive the transformation, the probability of failure is high. For organizations to reach the full value of transformation, the PMO will need to help drive the change. The biggest barrier to the PMO's success with driving the Agile transformation is inflexible adherence to previous processes, as I mentioned earlier, an old school leadership style. With an open mind and the ability to gauge the right executive buy-in to create a champion enterprise Agile team, transformation will be set for success. These teams also vary from the traditional style teams that we're used to. I heard a TED Talk recently that applies to Agile transformation, the shift in team mentality. In 2010, there was a collapse at the San Jose copper mine in northern Chile. 33 men trapped half a mile, that's 2 Empire State Buildings, below some of the hardest rock in the world. These miners will soon find that there is a way to a small refugee designed for this purpose. But they'll also find intense heat, filth, and about enough food for 2 men for 10 days. Shortly after, experts above ground figure out that there's no solution, right? No drilling technology in the industry was capable of getting through rock that hard and that deep fast enough to save their lives within a few days. Remember, they had enough food for 2 men for 10 days, yet there were 33 men trapped. Within 70 days, all 33 of these men will be brought to the surface alive. It's really a remarkable story and a case study in the power of teaming, very similar to that of an Agile team. Teaming is defined as teamwork on the fly, coordinating and collaborating with people across boundaries of all kinds, expertise across different time zones, different cultures, different skill sets. But most importantly, these team members don't work together often. In most cases, they don't even know each other. But they do have one thing in common, one goal: to get work done. Sounds exactly like an Agile team. Now let's look at my favorite sports team. Have to throw it in there, Oklahoma State Cowboys, a traditional team. As a team, there's no doubt they have game-saving plays that win games. But why? Because they practice, right? You can only practice if you have the same members over time. This is where the definition varies a bit. A team is a stable, bounded, reasonable, small group of people who are independently achieving a shared outcome. Quite different, for example, from a pickup game in the park, right? In contrast to the formal, well-practiced team. Which one do you think would win a playoff, right? A set team that practices together often. So why are we talking about teaming or Agile teams versus formal teams? Well, in Agile transformation, it's the way more and more of us have to work today. We've got fast-paced operations, we've got crazy shifting schedules, different expertise. We have to work with different people all the time to get our work done. Look at professional services delivery teams. They're forced in teaming environments all the time. Every time they work with a new client, they have to build and work with a new team. We don't have the luxury all the time of stable teams. In other words, team members that know each other well, that have the answers to every problem. So how do we build better, stronger, Agile teams to maximize the growth to our business? Well, let's go back to the mining example for a second. The rescue team was willing to take risks to learn fast. Remarkable ideas came from everywhere. They had a brilliant mining engineer, Andre Segaret, who was appointed, that had many ideas. They had some coming from NASA. They had some coming from the Chilean Special Forces, other volunteers around the world. On the 17th day, they broke through to the refugee and made a small incision. For the next 53 days, that narrow lifeline would be the path where food, medicine, communication would travel to the miners. The team above ground continued with their teaming, right? Figure out how to make a much bigger hole. They ended up designing a capsule in which on the 69th day, they would pull the miners out one by one over a 22-hour period. So, given this example, what makes good teaming? The leaders at all levels have been crystal clear they don't have the answers all the time. This situational humility combined with curiosity creates a sense of psychological safety that allows us to take risks with strangers. It's hard to speak up, it's hard to ask for help, and it's hard to offer an idea that might be a stupid idea when you don't know the people you're working with. You need psychological safety to do that. It's also hard to learn if you already know. Unfortunately, we're hardwired to think we know, so we have to remind ourselves to be curious. Curiosity can also spawn a kind of generosity of interpretation. We also have to get rid of the me or you mentality that we sometimes have, right? One of us will succeed and one of us will fail. It's hard to team if you inadvertently see others as competitors. If you can do this, the results can be awesome. This is the mindset we need for building effective agile teams. In our silos, we can get things done. But if you step back and you collaborate with others, great things can happen, right? Miners can be rescued, and businesses like yours can grow rapidly and successfully through agile transformation. Agile transformation requires the right people, I emphasized this earlier, to successfully implement such a big cultural change. Wickersoft has a unique focus on PPM staffing, consulting, managed services, as well as transformational service offerings. I like to use the analogy of medicine, right? Your businesses may be full of general practitioners ready to help with all the initiatives at hand. But as you navigate through all the work, you'll come across a broken bone, a damaged heart. You wouldn't want your dermatologist to operate on your broken arm or your psychiatrist to perform heart surgery. It's very much the same with technology, agile transformation, and other areas of expertise. You can't be everything to everyone, and you can't have a business full of specialists. In fact, you would never think to try to fix a broken bone yourself. The risk associated to doing so would be extremely high. What if you cause irreversible damage? In addition, would it make sense to go out and purchase all the equipment needed to repair one broken bone? Would it be worth that added expense? Now, if you could hire a vendor who has built a massive network of specialty doctors and who has hundreds of customers that share the costs, that you can realize the benefits of this network as if you owned it without having the overhead costs and risks, would you sign up for it? Most possibly, right? That's exactly what we've done. We've built world-class offerings for IT, PMO, and business transformational services that includes best practices, proven methodologies, and workflows, and a massive network of the best experts in each field. In addition, you lower the risk of managing work you aren't an expert in, and you remove all the time it would take for trial and error. Because quite simply, we've been doing it for many, many years, and we have the process down, saving you a ton of time and exploration that in many cases leads to rework. Now your people can be more productive, less constrained, and can focus on the real work that is required to transform your business. In addition to people, we also have to assess tools and processes, right? Agile project management adoption is on the rise. Version 1, as many of you have probably heard of, an Agile lifecycle management solution provider, conducts an annual report on the state of Agile. In 2017, 94% of organizations were reported to be practicing Agile. It's very common for Agile methodologies to coexist in organizations along with traditional PPM methods, as we discussed earlier when highlighting the benefits of bimodal PPM. Organizations are choosing to allow multiple methodologies and approaches across their organization to enable business agility and empower workers to work the way they work best to maximize productivity. Disconnected processes and tools can prevent organizations from realizing a successful agile transformation. In order to prevent common challenges, all work must be connected and visible to agile teams and leaders. So what are the challenges that most organizations face today? Well, every large organization over time develops some sort of processes or procedures to enable employees to obtain the information, products, and services they need to perform their jobs. The challenge is everything is done in a different system. Processes vary from team to team, and most importantly, everyone has a different objective. Employees are forced to navigate their way through this maze of forms, applications, processes, and locations, which lead to frustration, confusion, and even loss of time. In addition, information is distributed in silos. There are too many manual processes still in place. Teams are not working towards common goals, and that makes project costs, value, and performance anything but transparent to the business. We've essentially built this brick wall that is acting as a barrier, preventing teams from easily collaborating and sharing. This leads to people working in silos on different sides of the wall, leading to inefficiencies and ineffectiveness. This highly affects employee turnover, satisfaction, and work fulfillment. In fact, employee engagement is 100% critical for productivity. Bottom line, a disconnected and disengaged workforce operating in a rapidly changing and complex work environment means loss of productivity, innovation, and responsiveness. All the more reason why you have to look at all of these challenges when you're looking at Agile transformation. Each team has specific challenges that can be resolved through a unified solution. This is where technology comes in, right? Project managers have visibility into their work, but often they have no purview into development schedules. In many cases, they can't react quickly to changes simply because of change control processes, stakeholder management, and the baselines put in place at the beginning of the project. They also don't understand development issues, and in many cases, they have resources working on both types of work, Agile and traditional waterfall projects. So they need to be able to have visibility across all their team's work, regardless of where the work resides. Developers require different tools because their planning is completely different, right? It's iterative. It allows for a think on your feet mentality. There's less PPM discipline when leveraging the Agile approach, such as automated statusing and approvals. They also don't have the visibility they need into project issues. These challenges lead to a disconnect between the two teams that can cause bigger challenges for the organization as a whole. Executives are responsible for making the decisions that keep the organizations alive. Where are we going? What are our priorities, and how much value are we delivering? Then we go over to customer success, and they're missing the information they need to stay engaged with the customer. Where are the products going that their customers are using, and what projects are in progress for each engagement? These are all critical factors that the PMO must consider. Here you can see your traditional PPM disciplines across the top that are critical for all project success. You then have Microsoft Project or Project Online, the standard tool used within PMOs, and other project groups for traditional project management. On the right, you have Jira, commonly used for small teams. You've got TFS for Microsoft DevShops or Visual Studio, and version 1 for larger dev shops maybe that have enterprise agile or a more disciplined governance approach. Again, one unified solution for both agile and traditional project management. All tools for PPM should be integrated for a successful transformation. Microsoft offers many connectors to Microsoft Project or Project Online that allows transforming teams the ability to connect work productivity tools together for seamless total work management across your PMO and Agile teams. Bottom line, with Agile and Agile transformation, all things, people, tools, processes, they all must be connected. So that concludes our presentation today. We hope that you've enjoyed today's webcast. If you have any questions or you'd like to speak to an expert regarding Agile transformation, PPM staffing services, or PPM tools and technology, please refer to the contacts on your screen. Thank you and have a great day.